Yeah, to San
Yeah,
Francisco.
are we going with the 49ers, or are we going with just the NFL?
Yeah, just
I
the
can't
NFL.
believe I cannot believe you're pulling a NFL hat when typically, well, the season just finished. It's
Yeah, it
over.
is.
It's over. We don't need to talk about the NFL anymore. Anyway,
Okay.
3, 2, 1. Welcome to the 4 Point Play. My name is Samy. I'm a French guy living in Melbourne. On the line, we have Alberto, Italian living in the Philippines. And we are two mates who met in Melbourne, and every week we discuss three
And one.
NBA topics. Alberto, I feel like we're talking to each other every 2 days these days, which is great. It means that a lot of things are happening in the NBA. What did you do for the last few days apart from infinite scrolling on your Twitter timeline to follow the trades?
Oh my gosh, dude! I've done so many things, but I'm so excited for for the trade season. I didn't. I feel like I'm a kid in the candy store again. I didn't think it was going to be this excited for the trade deadline, but apparently, hey, I can't wait. Like, where is Anthony Davis going? And then the Porzingis trade, and then this crazy trade, unexpected again today, like in the middle of the afternoon for us in this side of the
So
world.
yeah, when I was preparing the podcast today, I swore to myself that I was not going to talk about any trades. Halfway through the day, there was the trade of Reggie Bullock to the Lakers, and I thought to myself, "That's fine. We don't need to talk about this." And literally 3 hours ago, a wash bomb again for a massive trade which just happened. So um, I'm sure everyone knows, but involving the Los Angeles Clippers and the Philadelphia 76ers. The Clippers traded, let me recap that for you, Tobias Harris, that's the biggest piece in the trade, Boban Marjanovic, Mike Scott for Landry Shamet, Wilson Chandler, Mike Muscala, a 2020 first rounder from the 76ers, a 2021 unprotected first round from the 76ers, but via Miami, which is a very coveted first round pick, and 2 second rounders. Wow, I can't even get my head around that massive trade that the Clippers and the Sixers did. It feels like the Sixers are basically going all in. It feels that the Clippers are basically saying, well, hey, Kawhi, hey, Anthony, sign with us. We have a great team now, and we have massive cap space, and we have plenty of first round picks. What do you think of that trade? I'm super excited. It's not as big as Kristaps Porzingis, but it's very close. What
Man,
did you think? I can't talk anymore.
it's a very underrated trade. Let me tell you that. Very underrated. This is gonna decide the NBA future in the short term and in the long term. Obviously, in the short term, we have one of the best starting lineups ever. Ever. Are you kidding me? Aren't you excited to watch these Sixers playing and to watch the Sixers playing in the playoffs, hopefully against Boston, so they can just survive the rivalry. And on the other side, let's go to the Western Conference, man. The Clippers. The Clippers are going to be amazing. I don't really care about the cap space. Obviously, they do have massive cap space to sign one or two free agents next year. But think about it. They have obviously they have Shai Gilgeous Alexander. They have another really good rookie who's playing really, really well. And then they have pretty much the 2020 Sixers pick, which is lottery protected, and then it becomes 2 second round picks, and then they have Miami first round pick in 2021, and that's
That's
unprotected.
a big pick. Yeah,
But
that's
you
a
know what?
massive pick. Yeah.
You know what? Everyone is underestimating Shamed. I love Shamed.
Absolutely.
He's
Absolutely.
so mature, dude. His basketball IQ is so developed, and he's a really good 3 point shooter. Obviously, this is a 3 point league, shooting league. He's going to be really good. Jerry West, for me, this is a steal. But again, let's not blame the Sixers because they're going all in. They have four All-Star caliber player in the East.
Yeah,
Obviously,
you could even say five. I mean, Redick has been fantastic and he's very underrated as a 3 point shooter. But yeah, it's an amazing starting five. Absolutely.
I'm excited. Sometimes obviously we, as in Twitter fans or NBA fans, we always have to find a winner. It's not black or white. These two teams have two completely different priorities in the short and in the long term, and they made the right trade for each team.
Do you think? What do you think? Let's talk a little bit about the Sixers first, and then we'll get to the Clippers. But do you think that this is too much too soon? That basically they're saying we're going all in, and it's championship or bust for this year, or at least let's say finals or bust for this year. What's happening over the summer for the Sixers? I mean, apparently they're planning on re-signing these four guys: so Butler, Simmons, Embiid, and Tobias. Are they just going
That's
to play
gonna
with
take a
four
lot.
players, or what's going to happen?
That's gonna take a lot, dude, to resign both players. Those are the intentions of the Sixers, obviously. But at the same time, it's gonna be tough for the Sixers. It's all in. Honestly, they said this is the season. We have to go to the finals. We have to. Well, they obviously they want to win a championship. I don't think they will, but this is it. Is this the right strategy? That's probably the only strategy they have. But at the
Yeah,
same time, they should have been. They should have been, in my point of view, slightly more patient. I think Colangelo first and Elton Brand now, they're kind of ruining what Hink did,
yeah,
because
exactly.
it
Yeah,
should have
that's what I was thinking
been
about.
it should have been more gradual. It should have been more organic. They drafted really well with Shamet. And man, starting, obviously they didn't draft very well with Markel Fultz, but I don't know. If you think about it, last year they did win their first playoff series in a while.
Yeah,
They did play really well against the Celtics. Obviously, they lost 4-1, but still, Embiid is growing. Ben Simmons, he was playing well. Shamet, Wilson Chandler, they were deep, and to me, the right trade for the Sixers was to get someone like Mirotic more than getting someone like Tobias Harris. But hey,
yeah,
let's wait.
yeah. And let's not. I mean, I agree with you on the Mirotic versus Tobias, but actually, Tobias's numbers from the perimeter are actually not that bad, and he could be a very good addition as a stretch four as well. I think he's versatile enough and good enough that he can play both roles. He's not the elite 3-point shooter that Mirotic is, but he can do so many other things that it's certainly going to be an addition to the Sixers. Let's flip to the Clippers, who, for many, as far as I can
Wow.
read, seem to be, or are actually designed as the winner of that trade overall, just because they're more future protected and they have basically not removed any option. Every option is still on the table. They could be signing Anthony Davis before the trade deadline this week. They could be signing Kawhi, make a run for Kawhi as a free agent over the summer, or any other big name really out there. What do you think? What did you think of their acquisition? You've already spoken about Shamet, who I also like as a prospect, and they have a really good point guard as well in Shai Gilgeous-Alexander for their future. What do you think? Where do you think they're going? Are they really going to try and get Anthony Davis and build, or a big star like Anthony Davis or Kawhi, and build on these plus their future draft picks, etc., or are they
Okay.
just fully rebuilding?
I think they're gonna go for a big free agent, which in my point of view is going to be Kawhi Leonard. But let's take that aside for 1 second. And let me quote one guy who sometimes I really like. Obviously, in his book, the book of basketball is the most amazing basketball book ever. Sometimes I don't really like. So Bill Simmons, that's what he tweeted. How the hell did the Clippers get 2 firsts, including that great 2021 Miami pick,
Yeah,
for a non-All-Star who was leaving in 3 months? Dude, Tobias Harris was going to be
free
unrestricted
agent
free
in
agent
three
in
months. Yeah,
3 months.
yeah,
Are you kidding? He was
yeah,
going to
yeah.
leave. They didn't want to resign him. Obviously, he's a really good player. Obviously, lots of also our Twitter followers are saying, "Oh man, Tobias Harris just hit the winning shot last night." Yes, but is he an all-star? And also, who's handling the ball in the last quarter the most? Like Lou Williams. So fantastic trade by Jerry West. Jerry West hits again. What's going to happen in the future? Well, they have a very nice base. They have a really nice coach, really good coach, who's really good, who's been really good after Lawrence Frank has taken over the GM position. The Clippers are going to be good, and they have the Los Angeles, the
brand,
good
name,
market,
yeah,
exactly, like
market.
the market, and they're gonna be good, man. And if you think about it, like last year they had signed Blake Griffin for 4 or 5 years. They were going to sign. Sorry, that's wrong about Chris Paul, but they were not in a good position. And what Jerry West has done,
Absolutely, yeah. Since
even
coming
their
in, yeah. So there's two things that I want to mention about Tobias. One is, I guess, kind of sad, and the other one is happy, or makes me laugh. One is obviously he's being traded again within a year since he arrived, and I think when you put yourself in the shoes of a player, it's never really easy to change home again after just 1 year or less than 1 year with a team. That's life in the NBA, I know, and that's a business, and that's what everyone will say. But at least in his luggage, he gets to once again carry Boban, and we're going to get the Toby and Bobby duo again because Boban Marjanovic is going with him. It seems like Tobias, anytime he's traded, must have said, "Hey, I don't care if you send me somewhere, just include Boban. He's coming with me as well." This big dude. And I read a couple of tweets about some people very much looking forward to a Boban and Embiid front court with the Sixers, and I think that could be fun, even just for 1 minute. So certainly looking forward to that. So as I said at the beginning of the podcast, I actually did not want to talk about trade today. So thank you, Woj, for your Woj bomb at 3 hours ago. Let's move on to my second topic that I wanted to talk about, which is a little bit different.
Dude, can I say one more thing before we?
One more thing.
Just one more thing.
One more thing.
Because you mentioned the Tobias and Boban friendship. Actually, Wilson Chandler and Gallinari were teammates in New York, and then they got traded together to Denver as part of the Melo trade. And now they are going to be together again. They're going to be reunited in the Clippers.
So basically, basically the NBA is a love story, and the Clippers and Sixers just wanted to reunite two very good friends and in Bobby and Toby and Wilson Chandler and Gallinari. That's what you're saying. So they had to make a big trade to make it happen. Great. Exactly. So my second topic, I want to talk about something a little bit different, but obviously you and I have the League Pass. That's how we watch the NBA.
Yeah.
But none of us can really watch all the games. It's impossible. There's so many games every day. It's impossible to watch everything.
Can someone?
Well, no, I don't think so. I don't think it's possible. You need to have an army. You need to have multiple people watching the games. But there are certain teams that I enjoy watching more than others. I'm sure you do as well. My question to you is, what is the most exciting team that you actually enjoy watching, and why? Can you tell us and tell the listeners?
Oh, this year?
Yeah, this year.
Definitely the Sacramento Kings, because they're fun to watch. I'm loving the Sacramento Kings. Obviously, so do I have to say 3-4 teams? So let's say two from the West and 2 from the East.
I started with 1, but okay, you want to say 4?
Okay.
Go for it.
Okay, sorry. So 1, definitely the Sacramento Kings.
So if the Kings are playing, you switch on their games.
Yeah, especially now. I watched Sacramento San Antonio yesterday. There was Yogi Ferrell going for like 7 out of 7 or 6 out of 6. And Marvin Bagley third is developing like so fast. I think the Kings are they might be looking at trading Wally Colley's time very soon because he's really good. Marvin Bagley and De'Aaron Fox, Buddy Hield, Bogdanovic. They're just really, really good. I really like their project. I really like how they're evolving. Dude, they're 28, 25.
Yeah.
We've been wondering, you and I, hey, are the Kings for real? Are the Kings for real? And I said no. That's the second time you asked me, and I said, well, no, I don't think they're going to make the playoffs. Well, they're just one game behind the Clippers. And who knows what's going to happen to the Clippers? Gallinari is coming back tomorrow.
Unless they sign Anthony Davis, I think they are going to not tank, but they're not going to make the playoffs this season. It's interesting. I think the Kings are number 2 on my list because I did a list. Who would be number 2 on your list of most exciting team to watch?
Well, it was going to be before the trade. It was definitely Dallas because I really enjoy watching Luka Doncic. But the Brooklyn Nets, I really enjoyed watching the Brooklyn Nets. Again, I'm a big fan of Jarrett Allen. D'Angelo Russell was playing really well. Spencer Dinwiddie, amazing team, amazing coach. and young team. So that's probably my formula. When there's a good culture, good franchise, going up, developing, good coach, and good young players. That's the team. So I'm
Yeah, they
enjoying the most.
certainly the teams which play fast and play kind of an exciting game, which is a little bit more, maybe less scripted and less boring. Like, hey, give the ball to James Harden and let him dribble and do this, or the Golden State Warriors that we all know and we know how they play. It's exciting and it's new, and I think that's refreshing. The Nets are actually first on my list, but for a slightly different reason. Actually, I certainly enjoy everything that you said and how D'Angelo is leading the team at the moment. I'm very excited about, very super excited actually, that Caris LeVert is very soon coming back. They said that he
Yeah.
could be back before the All-Star game, so that's super exciting. Let's remember that he was their best player when they started. So I'm certainly looking forward to having him back. But the reason I like watching them mostly, it's actually because most of their game are really close. They're very
Yeah.
competitive.
You're
They
right.
tend to lead by 20 points, usually around halftime or in the third quarter. Then, for some reason, they stop playing, and all their games finish within 2 to 3 to 4 points every time. And I've seen them shifting from losing these games at the beginning of the season to now winning them more consistently. And that's really enjoyable to watch. And certainly, to me, the number one team that I watch anytime they're on the league pass.
Okay.
Who would be your third team? Just a third team.
The Clippers. The Clippers before the
Oh,
trade.
interesting.
So much fun. It was, I think, the second time they actually got back from a 20-point deficit. But the Clippers are so much fun to watch. Why is that? Because they also have a very deep team. Their bench is really, really good. Obviously, they have two rookies in Gilgeous Alexander and Jerome Robinson that I'm really enjoying. And there's Gallo, so the Italian, and obviously sometimes you have the chance to watch Boban Marjanovic. So
Yeah,
anytime you can watch Boban, you go for it.
absolutely. He's great for the NBA. I think he should reconvert to, hopefully later when he's retired, to playing with Harlem Globetrotters or something like that.
Yeah.
Just make something fun out of it. Cool. Well, on third on my list was, I'm going to cheat a little bit, but there were a few different teams and for different reasons, so it depends on what's on. But I had the Lakers for, I won't say for obvious reasons, because then people would assume it's because of LeBron James, but just because of everything surrounding LeBron James and the Lakers and their team playing. I actually really enjoy watching the young players and what Kuzma is doing and Ingram and how they're developing, as well as Lonzo Ball when he's not injured, and how they're fitting with LeBron James. We're going to talk about today's game in a minute, but so they're one of the teams. The other one are the Jazz and the Spurs. I like the way they're playing as a team. Obviously, well, the Jazz have a French player as well, so like watching Gobert when he's on, and the Spurs, just their ball movement and how they're again competing with a bunch of players that no one was really saying are going to make a difference. And LaMarcus is actually hasn't reinvented his game, but somehow is still very effective, even though everyone knows how he plays and how DeRozan plays. So that's quite interesting. I said I was going to come back to the Lakers, and that's my third topic. So for those who don't know, the Lakers, LeBron suffered his biggest loss today. They lost by 42 points to Indiana Pacers in Indiana. It's one of the biggest loss of LA, of the Lakers, even
Oladipo less. Yeah.
all time, without Oladipo. There are more and more rumblings and rumors that basically this could be the tipping point for Luke Walton in Los Angeles. There was a picture today that I think you tweeted or certainly made the rounds and went viral of LeBron James sitting, three seats apart from his teammates towards the end of the game, being completely tuned out. It seems that we're having another LeBron James tantrum where he's just pouting like he does with the Cavs when things don't go his way, which could mean that there could be a change of coach coming. What do you think? Do you think that it is actually time to fire Luke Walton? I honestly don't know where I fit right now, but what do you think? Do you think it's time to fire him?
So in any sport, in any professional franchise, when there's a big player on the line, as in trade rumors, there's always going to be a psychological effect on the team, on the two teams involved, and on the players. So it's been way too long since all of the young players of the Los Angeles Lakers have been on that trade, on those trade rumors. And that's heavy, dude. That's heavy. Some players know how to deal with it. Some players don't know how to deal with it. I know that Danny Ainge and Brad Stevens has had a long talk with, for example, with Jaylen Brown and with other young, with Jason Tatum as well. I don't know, maybe the Lakers have had that chat, but my question goes to LeBron. Okay, dude, when you win, you get it all. When you lose, you need to be like smashed, like I'm gonna smash you. If you're a leader, if you come to the Lakers and in the first game, I remember, I think it was Brandon Ingram, he fell to the ground, to the floor.
Yeah, I remember that.
And LeBron said, that he was mic'd and he said, "Hey guys, come on, we need to be brothers, all together, helping our friends, our brothers, our teammates and whatnot."
Yes, stay down, we're picking you up, yeah.
Yeah, just because you're down 45 against the Oladipo Lass Indiana Pacers, then you behave like a child, and is that how you want to lead? Because that's, in my point of view, that's not how you lead. I'm really sorry, LeBron, because I really respect you, but that's not how you complain with the front office. That's not how you complain with your teammates. They don't know how to deal with it. Just help them.
He does that every season though. So like even with the Cavs, was it last year or in the previous years, there's this period around January, February when he's not happy because the team might be losing some games that he would like to win, or maybe he's just like, it's the grueling part of the season where you just have to get through these games before you get to the playoffs, and he's bored, and maybe that's his way of entertaining us. I don't know. There could be multiple ways you can interpret that. Indeed, I think it sends not necessarily the best message for people out there, and even young kids watching basketball. Ultimately, for me, I don't necessarily think that Luke Walton should be held responsible for the loss of today. And I guess the Lakers, how they're going. I see where you're going, where you say, well, maybe part of the responsibility is on LeBron and the players as well. I think some players may have had difficulties dealing with the trade rumors, but I also think that we shouldn't overreact to one game. Only a couple of days ago, I think they were playing an overtime game that they lost. They won against the Clippers, which was a pretty good game. I mean, you don't know. Maybe they just came out flat. Okay. I haven't seen the game, I must say, so they may have come flat.
Before Christmas Day, the Lakers before Christmas Day were in a really good spot.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Okay, and then LeBron got injured. These young players didn't step up. Obviously,
they didn't do too bad. But it's just so hard in the West, man. It's so hard.
Yeah, it's so hard in the West, but also think about the fact that the Lakers without LeBron, like what were they gonna expect? What were they expecting? Like the Lakers without LeBron to win the Western Conference? I said it. I think that at the beginning of the season, I said the Lakers. I don't know if the Lakers. I don't think the Lakers are gonna win the Western Conference. I think they're gonna be in between 4 to 6, and if there's an injury, they might get out of the playoffs. They might be out of the playoffs. Now, I don't want to be right all of the time, but this time I am. Just saying. Luke Walton, I think is good. I think they need to keep him. In my point of view, they need to see how he actually develops and how he manages the potential Anthony Davis and LeBron James connection. But he's a good coach. Who are you gonna call? Are you gonna call Tyronn Lue? Why do you think Tyronn Lue is gonna win the championship with these Lakers? Are you gonna call Mark Jackson, the guy who threw a lot of shit around the Warriors locker room, and actually said that Festus Ezeli just lied about his other teammate? Remember, he was just bad mouthing with the Warriors players. Who are you gonna call? Are you gonna call Jason Kidd to get him to spill a drink on his shoulder so that he can get an additional timeout? The good coach in the game, there's not many good coaches in the NBA. You can call
Thibodeau, and it's all defense. All defense.
And you play LeBron 45 minutes.
Yeah, no, it's. I agree with that. I wouldn't blame it on Luke Walton, even if there's been rumblings that he should be held responsible. I'm not ready to throw my towel to let Luke Walton go. Okay, cool. 1, 2, 3 topics for me done. What did you want to talk about today? Fire it up.
Well, dude, I've been watching a lot of NBA over the last couple of weeks at my
Have you?
girlfriend's place, obviously.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, because I just got my internet again. I just want to talk about these three brothers, the Holiday brothers. Obviously, they're not the. Let me throw this stat. I don't know if it's actually real or not, but there are three brothers playing in the NBA at the same time, and I think that's the first time ever. But obviously, I googled it for a bit, and I know the Barry brothers, John, Brent, and Drew, also played at the same time. But anyway, let's talk about the current news. The Holidays brother are playing really well. Not only Drew is playing an amazing season again, we spoke about him last week, but also Aaron Holiday is obviously he's a rookie, pick 23 of last year's draft with the Indiana Pacers. He's a very solid player. He played really well last night against the Lakers, and also his brother Justin Holiday recently traded to the Memphis Grizzlies. He scored the two free throws that sealed the win
Clutch.
clutch with 0.01 seconds remaining. Okoji did a very stupid foul, committed a very stupid foul.
Yes.
Good, solid player as well. And by the way, how the hell did the T-Wolves lost against, the Grizzlies playing against
without Marc
Gasol, with Conley pretty much with one step outside. Anyway, my question is, let's say Justin Holiday is pretty much an average player, right? He played a lot around Europe and whatnot. But who's the best of the three Holiday brothers? And do you think, talking about family, that LeBron is going to be able to play with his son?
Okay, I'll answer that second part. I think one of LeBron's goals, and that's the reason he's been talking about it already, is if his son makes it to the NBA, to play with him. So I think even if he has to stay at the end of the bench and play 2 minutes a la Dirk for his last season in his career, if it means playing with his son, I think he will do it. Father time is undefeated, as everyone says, and at some stage LeBron will not be the same player, but he could still have an impact and certainly will bring people to a bit like Kobe. So it'll be interesting to see that when it happens. As for the Holiday brothers, I think today, if you ask the question today, there's no question that Drew Holiday is the best player of the three. He's the leading point guard of the Pelicans. He's already proven that he's very strong, one of the best defenders of the game, as we said last week. At the end of the career, I think it's a different question. I would still put my money on Drew because of what he's accomplished so far. But I think Aaron has a promising career ahead of him. He could certainly develop into a very good player. It will. So many things can happen, but it might depend on where he ends up. If he ends up in a winning team, which possibly leads his team, maybe not as the main guy, but maybe the second or third guy in a team. And if he leads that team to a conference finals or even to NBA finals, I think we have a different story to what Drew has been accomplishing so far. That would be my take. I don't think Justin is there, and I don't think he will be there. He will be a good complementary player, possibly in the starting five, but not necessarily a key piece of a team. So yeah, that would be my take on the three guys.
Yeah, what an amazing story as well.
It is amazing. Yeah.
Also the one about Drew Holiday, with his wife's illness, and
absolutely,
he actually stopped for she was diagnosed with a brain tumor, and then that was amazing job by Drew Holiday. That's it, dude. 4 topics for the day.
Excellent. I'm sad that we couldn't avoid the trade conversations, but this has to be. And that's all. It happened. I have one more question for you before we go to continue the little competition that we have. At some stage, I'll need to do the tally up and start saying the points, because we've had some answers already. We know that sometimes you won, sometimes I won.
Okay.
The All-Star game is I think in 2 weeks, about 2 weeks or so. So it's a good time to start the easy All-Star game questions. But who do you think is going to win the 3-point competition? And do you want me to tell you the 10 players who are in the 3-point competition before you answer?
Danny Green.
Oh.
I was gonna go for Dirk, but he's way too old to play. Do you remember one of the contests where Joe Johnson actually played? I think he didn't even get to the last bucket, to the last set of buckets with 60 seconds remaining. So there's this beautiful meme on the internet where they said, some people said they still saw like what's his name, Joe Johnson, still trying to finish in the last set of buckets. Because
that's amazing. I think I remember that indeed. That was very fun.
Yeah,
it's interesting. I don't know if I would have put my money on Green, but we'll see. We'll see. I think.
But you know me, man. I like to risk.
Yeah. I think I don't know, so I'm not gonna say anything. Thank you everyone for listening. Reminder that you can find us on Twitter. The Twitter handle is _4.play. It's managed by our awesome social media manager, Alberto, who does a pretty good job sharing fun facts and random things, or not so random things, every now and then on Twitter. So please get involved if you're on Twitter. Otherwise, you can find the podcast on iTunes and Spotify, as well as Google Play Music for those who are on Google. We thank everyone for listening to us. We look forward to another podcast together. We might
have an emergency podcast over the weekend.
Exactly. If depending on how the trade talks go, the trade deadline goes, we may have another emergency podcast. So stay tuned for that. Thanks everyone for listening. One more thing that I forgot to mention, and for those who have stayed on until the end of the podcast, thank you. We have now reached 500 listens.
Yes.
All together, so we can
500 listens.
We can clap. We never thought we were going to reach that, until we reach our 500 episode, because we thought we were going to be the only listeners. So thank you everyone who's listening. Please don't hesitate to leave us comments and reviews on Twitter or on iTunes, etc. If you like the podcast or if you don't like it, we appreciate your support. Thanks everyone for listening. Have a great NBA week, and we'll talk again next time. Cheers, Alberto.
Cheers. Bye-bye.
Peace.